the more that you know yourself, the more that you're even able to know when you're going to fail. And when you fail, you create things to help you not stay in that failure as long, so you can bounce back up.
Stay relevant. I mean, this man is not just we like him because he's there, but no, he sits down, he really knows his stuff. I had a chance to talk with many of the people there, one of whom is one of his business partners. He owns, Carlos Slim owns 45% of the business, and this man owns 55%. And he says it's almost scary when Carlos comes over, because he'll look at the numbers, at the books. He knows how to read a financial statement and understand what to do, where our opportunities are, where we shouldn't be, where we are. And it's because he trains his mind. He keeps taking care of himself physically and then mentally, and training him. So those of you watching this, I would encourage you, push yourself, push your brain to read a little faster, memorize more, push your brain. Now, you can only push your body so much. You want to do a little bit of that, but make sure it's medically sound. Don't injure yourself. But with your brain, think about it. What if you say, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to try to read this book, and then go back and comprehend what's there, and talk about it and repeat it. Work on your memory on that, work on learning. These are skills that will help you. And I find that as we keep going, we keep providing more value to the world, we'll do better. I just think that's the way to succeed in life.
You know, both of you guys are public speakers and do a lot of public speaking, and that's a really important skill for people to have. In fact, you know, looking into public speaking a little, there's indications that people that can effectively communicate earn about 3 times as much as the average person. And but you know, there's an irrational fear of public speaking that has been kind of conditioned into people's minds. And you know, if there was one skill that people could really use when it comes to like earning money and being able to reach their goals and be more effective at getting what they want, it really is public speaking and all the things that it brings forth. The ability to kind of organize your thoughts, the ability to express yourself in terms that people can understand and utilize. How did you guys become public speakers? How did you overcome your fear? Terry, you want to go first on that one?
Well, for me, it was because I couldn't find anybody to pay me what I thought I was worth, so I had to get out on my own and started speaking and showing people how to do different tasks. So for me, the way it worked is I'd finished my MBA program, and I was looking around, seeing what's happening. There was a lot of demand for this new thing called an electronic spreadsheet. At that time was brand new. And I took what we had called a cash flow statement that had been done with paper and pencil and was really difficult and very arduous to put together. And I thought, what if I put that on a spreadsheet, one of these things? So I taught myself how to do that, and then showed others how to do it. And I thought, you know, there might be some people be willing to pay to learn how to use it. So I started speaking on it, started doing more speaking. And I'd done some training in school about that and in practice a little bit. But for me, I find that speaking and using oral communication, very important to get your ideas across. And to refer to what you said, Mike, people sometimes get a little bit fearful. And I think usually that comes because a couple of things happen. Number one, might not be as prepared as it should be. If I had to stand up right now and speak on a topic that I didn't know to a really important audience, yeah, there'd be some nervousness there. But if I have had proper preparation, then that helps a lot right there. That competence helps to build your confidence by being able to make sure you're really competent and you know what you're talking about. But then there's a second thing that I think is even more important. We find that the fear comes because inside our intrapersonal communication going on in our own head, we're going, oh no, I'm not that good. Oh, is there oh no, what am I going to do? Oh, I said that wrong. Oh no, oh no. And it's always me focused. If instead I turn it around to try to look at that audience and think, what can I do to help them? And get to know people out there. Matter of fact, let me give you a little secret that a lot of professional speakers we like to use. When you're going to speak somewhere, whenever possible and as much as possible, try to put yourself at the door as people are walking in the auditorium so you can shake their hand. You get to know them more. And the more you know them, and the more you're focused on their needs and where their challenges are, the less focus you have on you, and the fear tends to dissipate. you're able to focus on them. And plus, I really like talking with people, so I can find out people are from different parts of the world or what their business is. And then where it's relevant in my program and the presentation that I have, I can say, well, you know, this is very much like it was when I was talking to Harold and Margaret out here. They're from Racine, Wisconsin. We were talking, hi there, how you two doing? Yeah. And we talked before, and they were saying they went through this, and they've done this kind of thing. Make it real. Make it real for them and point toward real people out there, connecting with them. That helps to, first of all, build your competence, and it also helps to dissipate a lot of the fear. At least that's something I've seen. Louis, how about yourself? You do a lot of presentation. You do a damn good job of it, sir, too.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to be like completely honest here. Every time that I'm going to speak, I feel like I want to run away and hide under my mom's dress and never get out because it's so scary, right? And I'm pacing back and forth, and like I'm like, oh my gosh, why do I do this to myself? And then I just walk, get on stage, and all of that just goes away. And it seems like something's being channeled and it flows, and to the point where sometimes at the end of the presentation, I don't remember half of the stuff I said, because even though I'm prepared, stuff is, kind of like flowing, the spirit kind of stuff. So, that part is very interesting always to me. But I got kicked out of a couple of schools growing up, and I was always allergic to authority. I never really liked school. I liked girls at school, but not necessarily school. So growing up, I always said, I want to be a teacher, but I hate school. So how's this going to work out? So I found a way, because, my dad would say, hey, like, he would be pissed because, I went to like Instituto Mexico, which is, super sophisticated school where like, Placido Domingo went to that school, and like all of these, heads of state in Mexico City and actors and whatever. I was like, how come all these guys are calling you to ask you questions about school and you answer them without looking at your books? But whenever it's test time, you always fail. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't like that situation, how it just kind of transpires at school. So ultimately, that's kind of how everything started. Like, I am really good at understanding difficult concepts and digesting them into easier to bite, and I pass them forward. And, it's always been like that. So it's something that it's just kind of my gift, something natural that comes. So, I started, heck, when I was, back in my early 20s, I ended up somehow with the mayor of Silva, North Carolina, where we lived, and they had me as a master of ceremony, and we were doing all sorts of crazy things because I just could do those things. So it seems like life just throws me into interesting situations where, there's that channeling needed, and it happens nicely. But ultimately, so there's something that I also want to talk about. Like, a lot of times when we're growing up, our parents tend to be pretty rough on us. And we have a lot of insecurities. On my side, like my mom, like I was raised thinking that I was God's gift to earth, kind of thing. So I'm honestly not humble at all. And I can, like when I show up somewhere, like my mom would have me do this mantra saying like, I am not coming here to see if I can, I am here because I can. So, I grew up little kid, just repeating that shit all the time. And so whenever I show up somewhere, I know that I'm going to just, do the best I can. And so I think the mentality of people is probably what's most important, brainwashing yourself. A lot of people suffer from paranoia. I suffer from pronoia. I believe that everybody's out there to help me. And it tends to actually happen.
Absolutely. That's, that really some great stuff. I myself, in regard to public speaking, I've always had a problem to some degree with the fear of being out in front of people as well. But at the same time, I kind of feel like I've got some of the similar things with you, Luis, where I feel like I've just been prepared for something great my entire life, and I just got to I just got to get up in front of people, because if no one else is going to do it, it's going to have to be me. And so I've done things like Toastmasters, and I actually became a president of a pretty good Toastmasters group in Pensacola.
Oh, good for you.
But I still do struggle with that, where all those little things that you mentioned, Terry, kind of stir up there, and you start to doubt yourself, and that it is absolutely about, the level of competence that you have does equal your confidence, and that's certainly something that I try and encourage people a great deal about, is that how do you go about building that confidence is about the daily effort that you make and the habits that you create that get you to where you want to go. It's like it's like water dripping on a rock kind of thing. It's the daily habits that over time lead to those maximum results. I also want to point out something else that Tony Robbins is actually famous for, and he did a study once with one of the guys that was fundamental to the NLP, in that he did a work with the U.S. Army for their sniper school, and they had a course where they were teaching snipers, and it took about 30 days for that course, and they had about a 20% success rate. And over a period of time, Tony and one of the guys that he worked with took the top 5 guys that they had, and they relearned. They went through and using the NLP kind of techniques. How do you breathe? What are your senses? What are you thinking about? All these kind of things. And they reduced the course to 7 days. And when they reduced the course to 7 days, they also got a much more effective course, where over 80% of the people were passing. And so, it's kind of one of those things where if you focus on the things that maybe most people don't focus on, like they push like a lot of people, they push repetition over like really figuring out what are the most important things. And you guys have pointed out already some kind of key little fundamental techniques and habits that you use. But
if I can share something, because I think
Sure.
it's something that's related to this, I think that the more self-awareness that you have, the more you can know other people, and the better that you can give to people. Because a lot of times, when we don't know ourselves, and this is related to the confidence and the competence, whenever we don't know ourselves, we doubt ourselves, and we end up not really doing what we need to do, and that's affecting us and people around us. So, there's a really good book that I would suggest. It's called Search Inside Yourself, and it's from the Google people. And this is like basically mindfulness and meditation taught by an engineer. So that's going to be easy to read, because it's not going to be some woo-woo shit. So it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My dad was an engineer, so I know that really crystal clear things, no added superfluous stuff, like to the point kind of thing. So what he talks about is, the more that you know yourself, the more that you're even able to know when you're going to fail. And when you fail, you create things to help you not stay in that failure as long, so you can bounce back up. Because all systems fail at some point, and we humans are systems. So whether that is tiredness, and okay, so if you get overtired, what do? Or maybe keep a Z-bar in your pocket or your backpack, because your glucose is going to drop and you're going to get hangry and bitchy. All sorts of things that help you realize and know yourself. And then when you see things happening to other people, it's like, oh, his glucose is low. Maybe just give him a snack. you know, or maybe he needs to sleep, you know, those kinds of behaviors. Or, you know, you can see, and also this is also important to get to know your shadow self, because when you see the shadow self and the other people, you're able to really connect and be like, okay, so this is what's happening. It's not that they're evil or malevolent or whatever, you know, they just have to, you know, they need, everything is based on lack of, you know, fulfilling certain needs. So as you're able to fulfill those needs, then people get better. So all of these things are of supreme importance to basically to know yourself is the most important thing. And then you can help other people. Because otherwise it's like the whole idea of one blind person leading another blind person.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely. And shoot, I don't know, Terry, do you have any other key areas as far as you know, like little things that you take notice of that are like fundamental in regard to learning things that may quicken the pace of people moving forward and progressing to be more competent?
Yeah, I think it's an attitude that you take that really helps. What you want to do is always learn. Cavett Robert said it long ago. He says, school is never out for the professional. We keep going back. Fortunately, today, the school we can go to is the University of YouTube, the University of Google, and we keep learning more and more about something that is relevant. I think that's really important, to learn what's relevant. And I think, again, I'm going to go back to being able to read rapidly. Really helps a lot. I took a course a few years ago that I'm so glad I did. I wish I would have taken it when I was in second grade, but it's called photo reading, Photo and reading, photo reading. And it has the ability to learn to read massive amounts of information, more than just speed reading. It's using what they call the whole of your mind and your whole consciousness and being able to learn. And so I've been able to sit down and read whole books in a matter of a few hours, just 1 or 2 hours, depending on what the book is, the content, and what it's like. So I would say find out ways that you can read faster. And today, download them. Matter of fact, I'm on the road right now, but I have my little phone here. I love my smartphone that I can use. And I just take this and I read lots of books with Kindle. So I'll have hundreds and hundreds of books on there. Go back and revisit some old friends and be able to see that. Also reading new material all the time. Really, really important. And I think working on the memory as well. How can we memorize more? I've got a long, long way to go, but I've been working on it to say, okay, how do you remember certain material that is really good? I think learning is something that I like to say, not only should we be lifelong learners, we hear that a lot and I agree with it, but I think you want to be a day-long learner. Throughout the day, keep learning. Learn something new each day, every day. Make sure you got something that you either experience by listening or by reading or by interacting, going to courses, going to seminars. There's many of these that are wonderful that are online right now. You can sign up for them, and many of them are out there. Not all good, but that's okay. Learn how to learn faster and learn how to retain information. When new technology comes out, one of the things I had to do throughout my career is learn new technology. And if you can learn how to assimilate it and give it a practical, pragmatic application very quickly, faster than your competition, you'll do well. Go back to what I was doing, what I mentioned before with spreadsheets. I was one of the first out doing that, not because I was great, but just that, hey, I thought people could use it. And I took practical applications in real estate at that time. Real estate syndication was real big. And I would develop models that real estate syndicators could use. I had them teach me what they needed on paper. Then I took it, translated over into the computer. And at that time, we were working with them. Same thing with accountants. I did a lot of work with the American Institute of CPAs. They asked me to come in and speak a lot, and with many different state societies of CPAs, 27 state societies of CPAs. And I would often joke that I would put a number in here and watch it change and ripple through. That was a big deal back then on a spreadsheet. You could change this number and all the other numbers would change because we hadn't seen it before. I said several of those CPAs came dangerously close to actually having an emotion. It was almost scary to see it, but they can say, oh, wow, look at that. We changed it and everything. So learn what is relevant. Learn something that is market valuable that people say, hey, you can do that for us? How much would you charge? And you offer them a fair price and they go, come on over here. You provide needs that others have. You take care of their needs. You solve their problems and you will never have to worry about making money.
Awesome. Terry, you mentioned attitude, and Luis, you mentioned failure. And I think those two things together, and the attitude about failure, and then also helping people, and then even problems. Any of those things in particular for either one of you guys stick out as far as, I know for failure, there is a kind of a advice that says you should fail often,
Yep.
and try and fail as much as possible, because those are really the greatest learning experiences.
Yeah, if I can jump in on that, I would have to agree strongly on that. Matter of fact, also, Michael, I need to get scooting in just a little bit. I've got another appointment coming up. But on the failure thing, I agree with you. You want to fail fast in small ways and learn from them. Never let that failure go to waste. Learn from it. And it's not real failure if you go out and do it again. As long as you're not hurting someone, ending life, keep trying and be willing to fail, but also have those systems built into place that you learn from what you did wrong, what you could do right, how you're going to do it again next time. The human reaction, I think, is normal to feel despondent, to feel like, oh, gee, I'm a dummy, I'm no good, I'm blah, 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 or whatever. You start spiraling downward. Instead, go, okay, hold it. We really messed up on that one. That one didn't work well. Something went wrong here. What can we do to turn it around? What could I have done differently? I often pretend, okay, what if I can get in my time machine and go back to the point before I did that activity? What would I do differently? Or if I met someone, what should I have caught early before I got into a business deal that might not have been good with that person? I think what we want to do is be able to learn and learn fast. The more we do that, the better off we'll be.
Absolutely. Luis?
Absolutely. And I'm on a similar note. I think that, we don't want to look like we're incompetent or stupid. So a lot of times we vacillate on doing things because we feel like we are going to fail. But I think that because of the we're like the event horizon between the macrocosm and the microcosm, and this is where like shit's happening. So this is how we expand, and we get to know the universe gets to know itself through a situation. So the more that we expand, the more we try, the more that we test boundaries, I mean, that should be a given, that that you're going to fail. And as an entrepreneur, I get 90% no's or 10% yes, and that 10% yes is what actually pays the bills. Like being prepared for that. When you're out in the dating scene, you have to be prepared for the girl to say no to you, and that's okay. Deal with it, whatever, learn.
Yep.
Exit strategies. How can I, like, what you were saying? Okay, so I don't go from like win lose mentality. I'm like win learn, because even if I don't win, I'm going to learn, and then I can use that later. So in my mind, like I never lose, because even if I'm on the floor, okay, shoot, like I can learn that now. Like that was a good lesson. I mean, it was shitty, it hurt, but I'm going to learn so I can help myself and others. It's not just about you too. And I noticed that the more that you're able to bring your teachings to other people, I mean, not like forcefully, right? But that's something that actually helps you get out of that hole faster whenever you fail.
Absolutely. Terry, I want to certainly appreciate your time, and thank you so much for taking the time to spend a little time with us and delve into your multitude of wisdom and great ideas. I'll just end on the idea behind these interviews is number one is to kind of put a couple different people together that may have similar things, and kind of introduce them to our larger community, because I am one of those people that had the opportunity to meet a lot of the people that come to Anarchapulco, and I'm just, I'm constantly just amazed at the level of knowledge and expertise that we have. And I don't think our community really realizes how many great minds we have. And so, that's what this is about. So again, thank you. Thanks both of you guys for taking the time. And I'll let you go if you got to go, Terry, or we'll let each of you have a final statement.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you. I appreciate being here. And I think the key is go back. I would encourage those of you that are watching this, go back and listen to this. Seldom does one exposure to new material help you to retain it long term. And that's why this is beautiful that we've got it recorded. You can go back, take notes on it, assimilate it, and make it yours. And if there's a way I can help you, just get in touch with me. Those of you listening on audio here, you can go over to terrybrock.com. That's Terry, and Brock is spelled the right way, BROCK. So terrybrock.com, and you'll have all the information there. Mike and Louis, great to see both of you again. I'll look forward to catching up. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank
See
you.
you.
Okay, bye now.
All right, Luis, the floor is yours.
I'm just super appreciative for this opportunity. I hope we can do it again, man.
Yeah, it's great. There's just so many things that I get. People complain about Facebook sometimes, many times, especially in our community. But there are some positives, and there's always positives to everything. And certainly one of the things that is a positive being Facebook friends with you, Luis, is you're constantly delivering some wonderful information and messages and advice and wisdom. And man, I'm just so grateful that you keep, putting that stuff out, because I'm definitely receiving it, and I'm very grateful for it.
I'm really grateful for you too, and for these words, and for letting me be part of your project. Thank you so much. And you're a important piece of Acapulco, and thank you for what you do.
My pleasure, man. Take care. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.